What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper, and I wanted to review a level and cosine angle indicator. And this is for a long-range precision rifle. You mount these on a long-range precision rifle that you intend to shoot at distances beyond 300 yards. And this is the Accu-Level from Flatline Ops. This is the Accu-Level Sniper 30 millimeter scope level, and that's what you see here. And I also got the Flatline Ops angle degree indicator mounting system. This is called the Strong Arm angle degree or angle cosine adapter. And the way that this works is that you slide this adapter onto the side of the ring here, and then you can take your angle cosine indicator and slide it through it comes with a dovetail here, okay, and it has this this little dovetail on the ring itself, and the strong arm slides over the dovetail, and then you have two screws that tighten it down so it stays in place, okay, and then you take your angle cosine indicator or your angle degree indicator or your combo. Like this is a Sniper Tools Hunter indicator, which is basically it has angles, degrees on the left side, which is a 0, 10, 20, 30. That's the angle. And then on the right side, it has the cosine, which is nice, you know, in case I want to have knowledge of both the degrees and the cosine. And then so your angle degree indicator, it'll slide right into this dovetail right here, okay, and this is great if you have like a bolt action 3006 or some kind of classic hunting rifle, because what happens is if you don't have a Picatinny rail, you can still mount this level system and have an angle degree and angle cosine indicator without a Picatinny rail. A lot of long-range precision tools like this level system and the angle degree indicator, you know, they usually require a Picatinny rail, and some rifles don't have a Picatinny rail, or some people choose not to install one. Like on one of my precision rifles, I have a Ruger 300 Win Mag, and I just use the integral Ruger scope rings, and I didn't use a Picatinny base or anything. So as a result, I was pretty limited in terms of what kind of leveling systems and degree cosine indicators I could use, because I didn't have a Picatinny rail. Most of these degree indicators and cosine indicators are designed to be mounted on a rail. So that's why I went with the Flatline Ops, because it's kind of a universal system, and it has some cool features. The one thing that really attracted me obviously to it was the fact that I could have a level system and a cosine degree indicator without having a Picatinny rail. I could mount this whole thing onto my scope. You know, this is basically just a scope ring configuration. It has two screws here. It's not that wide. I think it's 0.625 inches wide. So this will easily fit on pretty much any scope configuration for any kind of typical bolt action rifle with two scope rings. You know, this will slide right over your existing scope tube, and it shouldn't interfere with anything because it's pretty narrow. And then you got this, you know, this arm, the strong arm, which comes off the side, and that's really nice because it'll give you that angle degree measurement close to where your eyes can see it. You know, normally, if you don't have a Picatinny rail, it's going to be hard. You know, if you have your angle degree indicator up here somewhere, it's not going to be as convenient as having it down low on the left side here for me, because I'm a righty. You know, having it down low below the scope on the left side makes it easy to see, you know, when I'm in position and doing my dope settings and adjusting my elevation. I have it, you know, in a very visible location. Well, one really cool thing about this Flatline Ops level is that look what it can do. Okay, it can snap off to the side, and that's really cool because, you know, if the way your scope is set up, if the level, you know, I have a different scope ring level, and the problem with it is that the level is right on the top like this, and then I have my elevation turret, you know, right in front of it, and the problem is the level blocks the elevation turret, and I can't see what my settings are. You know, I have to lift my head up and look down, and if you're in a prone position, or you're shooting off of a bench and you're trying to get everything steady and you're trying to get in a good tight position, you know, having to stand up or lift your head up to see the elevation setting that you're on is going to affect your stability. You're going to have to readjust your rifle. It's going to move you off of your target. So this is cool because you can flip the level off to the side, and I can still check my level of my rifle, but there's nothing blocking the elevation turret, you know, so I can still quickly lift my head up off of my cheek weld, off of my stock, and look up at the elevation setting, and I can see where I'm at, and I don't have to worry about this level blocking me and having to, you know, get up out of my shooting position and look down on the rifle and mess everything up. So that's a huge advantage, you know, especially if you have a classic type of rifle, like, you know, a hunting type rifle that you're going to do long range hunting with, or something that doesn't have a Picatinny rail, where you can't have a rail mounted level that comes off the side of the rifle, you know, clamped onto the rail. This is a great little innovation here, and it's really high quality. You have magnets on either side, so you have a magnet here which keeps it locked, and then you have a magnet over here which, you know, keeps it in the open position. So, you know, it holds it pretty well. As you can see, I have to put some force to get it to undo, you know, and you can listen to the to how strong the magnet holds. You know, you can hear it locking and you know, closing and opening, and it's not sloppy, it's tight. You know, the level is tight, it's not loose. As you can see, it doesn't flop around, it stays in place. It's kind of tight. It has a very high quality feel to it. You know, it has a very thick anodizing. The aluminum is very thick. I think they use, I don't know what type of aluminum they use. It's 6061 aircraft aluminum, so it's, you know, standard aluminum, and it's hard anodized. Okay, so you know, it's a really cool level system here, and another nice thing about it is that you can mount this onto your existing scope without having to, you know, undo your scope and take your scope apart, or undo your scope rings and take your scope off. You know, you can put this onto your scope as long as you have enough room for this ring. And again, it's only 0.625 inches, so as long as you have enough room on your tube where you can clamp this, it's going to fit. So the way that you put this over your scope is you loosen up these two screws here on the bottom, on the underside, okay? And it comes with these little Allen wrenches here, and the bottom half of this ring just slides right off, okay? So you put this on the, you know, you put this over your scope, and then you slide the bottom half, and it has this like kind of like a hinge system here, where you slide the bottom ring through this hinge. Okay, you slide it through the hinge, and then you tighten it down. Okay, you put the screws in and you tighten it down. All right, and so you don't have to undo your scope rings to mount this level. Okay, and again, you don't need a Picatinny rail. This will work without a Picatinny rail, so it's great for all my fellow hunters out there shooting, hunting type rifles without, a fancy Picatinny base or anything. You can still have a level system and an angle cosine indicator for those long range shots if you're hunting out west and you're shooting across a canyon and you're shooting at mule deer or elk at 400 yards away or 300 yards, 500 yards, whatever, and you're shooting downhill or uphill. You want to know what your degree is or your cosine so you can make a proper adjustment in your dope. Okay, so it's a very cool system, and I'm gonna mount it on my Ruger 300 Win Mag, so stay tuned for that. I'll show you guys how it looks once it's mounted, once I level it. But this is a really cool little level here for all you guys out there that are into long range shooting. I highly recommend this system here. Just really high quality, very well built. You're definitely, now this wasn't cheap. I'm not going to try to say that this is cheap or anything. I spent, I think the actual ring itself is probably over $100, and then this strong arm, this attachment for the angle cosine is another $70. And then the cosine indicator was also about $100, so I probably paid almost $300 for this. And it sounds kind of crazy, but why would you spend $300 for a ring? Well, if you're long range shooting and you want to make shots at long distance, you need to have things that are high quality and things that work. You don't want to buy cheap things that are going to break, or they're not machined to tight tolerances, and they're loose and they're not accurate, especially something like a level and a cosine or degree indicator. You want to make sure it's high quality so that you're getting a good reading, because at long distances, every little movement makes a huge difference, so it's better to spend a little bit of money and have something that will last you a while and will give you accurate results, especially if you're a hunter. But also for a prepper, if you're trying to build a long-range precision rifle for SHTF, you need to have a level and you need to have an angle cosine degree indicator. And Flatline Ops is a great company. They're made in the USA. And this angle degree indicator is made by a company called Sniper Tools, which is also made in the USA. And this, like I said, this particular one is the Sniper Tools angle and cosine all in one. So it has your angle in degrees on the left side and your cosine on the right side. All right, so you can have both if you want to do, for whatever reason, you want to have your degree and your cosine rather than just your cosine or just your degree. I like to have both rather than having to convert the math from one to the other. And, for simple calculation, they even inscribed on the outside of the indicator, cosine times distance is going to give you your adjusted distance. So what that means is that if, let's say, you're shooting at 400 yards and your rifle is canted downward and your cosine is 98 or 94, you're going to multiply 400 times 98 or 0.98, and that's going to give you your actual distance that you're going to need to make your adjustments for. And at long distances, if you have your rifle angled down or up, it can cause a huge difference in terms of whether you're going to make the hit on your target or not. So that's what the cosine and angle degree indicator tell you. They tell you, if your rifle, what's the angle of your rifle? Is it canted down or not canted, but is it angled down or is it angled up? If you're angled down, that's going to have an effect on your dope. And then if you're angled up, it's also going to have an effect. So you need to know the degree and the cosine so you can make the proper adjustments so you don't miss your target. The level is important because, you know, if you're a little bit off, if you, let's say you're holding your rifle, if you're canting your rifle, you know, let's say you're canting your rifle this way, all right, your shots are going to show that they're low and to the right because you're angled, you know, you're not angled, your rifle, rather than being straight, your rifle is canted, let's say a little bit to the left, all right, so your shots are going to show up on target that they're too far to the right, all right, because you're canted to the left, so the shots are going to be going to the right. If you're canted to the right, your shots will be going low and to the left, okay? So, you know, you need to know if you're canted or not. You don't want to be canted. You want to be straight and level. So that's what the level does. It makes sure that your rifle's not canted, which is going to, especially at long ranges, guys, if you're shooting up to 200 or 300 yards, it's not going to make a big difference. But beyond 300 yards, you know, if your rifle is canted even just a little bit, it can make a huge difference whether you make your shot or you don't, whether you hit your target or you don't hit your target. Same thing with your angle. You know, if your rifle is angled upward or downward, it's going to affect your shot, you know, and whether you hit the target or not. So this is just a really cool system, and I can't wait to assemble it and show you guys how it looks on my rifle. And it's a really really high quality product, and again, it isn't cheap, but you know, it's worth it. And I'll just show you guys how you mount the Strong Arm onto the level. What you do is you get this little wrench that comes with it, and you tighten the 2 screws on the angle mount here. You slide your angle cosine or angle degree indicator through the dovetail here, put the screw in the back through it, and then you just tighten this screw down, okay? All right, and you never want to over tighten screws with things like this. I made the mistake of over tightening a screw on my last angle cosine indicator, and I broke it. So you never over tighten screws on things like this, because these are precision instruments, and if you over tighten them, they can break. So that's pretty much what it looks like. You know, I love this thing. I can't wait to use it at the range and take it out to the long range. And I'm going to mount it right now and show you guys what it looks like after it's mounted. So check out the Flatline Ops Accu-Level Sniper articulating scope level, and then also their Strong Arm angle degree indicator adapter. And for the cosine or degree indicator, I highly recommend the Sniper Tools angle cosine indicator Hunter version. Okay, Sniper Tools Design Co. Estes Park, Colorado. SniperTools.com. You can email them. They have a 800 number as well. But it has the angle on the left and the cosine on the right. So I can't wait to mount this up and show you guys how it looks. But alright guys, so I got the Flatline Ops Sniper 30mm Accu-Level installed on my scope here. So let me just go over the features again. So you can either have the level down like this, and you can check your level, okay, your cant. You can see if you're canted or not. You never want to shoot canted, you always want to shoot level, because if you shoot canted, if you're shooting at long range, especially beyond 200 yards, you're going to start to see the bullet point of impact, you know, go in weird directions, and you're going to be trying to adjust your windage, and you're going to be trying to figure out why it's off and not realizing that it's because your rifle is canted. All right, so you have, if you're behind the scope like this, you can either check or like this. If you want to quickly check the level, you can have the bubble down like you see here, okay, or you can unfold it like this, okay, and when it's snapped off to the side, that makes it easier if you want to check your, if you want to do your come-ups here on the elevation knob. All right, let me just take the cap off. All right, so if I'm behind the scope and I need to make adjustments, I got to do a come up. All right, I don't want this bubble level in the way. All right, because if I have the bubble level like this, it's going to be a little more difficult. It's not going to be as easy. I'm going to have to lift my head up and check. I'm going to have to lift my head up above the level and look down, and that's going to affect my stability and you know, my positioning. So by having the bubble level fold to the side, I can check my level, and then I can also look at my here, let me just adjust the light so you guys can see better. All right, so if I want to, let's say, do a come up, I need to move the point of impact up, and I got to dial the turret. All right, I got my bubble on the left here. All right, and the turret's right here, and it's not in the way. All right, when I'm done, I can fold it back and move on. Another thing too is, so here's the strong arm, so the mount here for the angle cosine indicator here. All right, let me just get the light over here so you guys can see. All right, so here's the angle cosine indicator, and this one is the Sniper Tools Hunter, okay? And this angle cosine indicator actually has angles on one side, and it has a cosine on the other. So on the left side, you can see these are angles here, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it goes up to 70. All right, that's the angle in degrees. So that's 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, etc. And on the right side is the cosine. So if you want to do your calculations, you just multiply the cosine by the distance, and that'll give you your actual distance that you're going to use to make your adjustments. But this one, I like this one because it gives you both the degrees and the cosine. So there may be situations where I don't want the cosine and I just want the degrees. So that gives me some flexibility. What you do is you just read the red line, and as you but angle the rifle up or down, the red line will move. Okay, and that'll tell you, you know, what your angle is, your shooting angle, if you're angled up or down, and that's going to have a huge impact on your ballistic adjustments, okay? So here's that strong arm that I was saying that, you know, with the Sniper Tools Accu-Level. So one thing, before I talk about that, I want you guys to listen to how positively it engages when it locks up. You can hear it's got like a magnet in there. So when it closes, you know, it's very high quality. This is like all aluminum. The level is protected on the top here by this aluminum little piece here. So it's, if you hit it against something, it's not going to crack. You know, it's very heavy duty. Okay, I mean, this is just really thick aluminum. It's not cheap at all. You know, granted, you're paying $150 for this level system here, and the strong arm is like another 70 bucks. So, you know, you're paying money for it, but it's worth it. You know, if you're serious about long range shooting, you need to have good quality equipment, especially in things like this, you know, which you want to make accurate adjustments. And to do that, you need to have a good level and a good cosine and degree indicator. So here's the strong arm mount here. And what that allows me to do is attach my angle cosine indicator to the ring, to the Accu-Level, the Flatline Ops Sniper 30mm level ring. It allows me to attach it because here on this rifle, I don't have a Picatinny rail. As you see, this is a Ruger, okay, and Rugers have their own built-in dovetails for their scope rings. And I just didn't feel like putting a base on here. They do have some, you can buy some aluminum Picatinny rails. If I wanted to, I could have a gunsmith, you know, bore out some holes and install a base, but I've preferred to use Ruger's system because it's effective and it's simple. You know, this rifle is supposed to be more like a hunting rifle than a tactical. You know, but I could also use it for tactical, but I like the Ruger system. It's nice and clean and simple. And I wanted to keep the the sight low. I didn't want the scope like, you know, very high. So the Strong Arm, you know, it's just this little thing here that, you know, it screws onto the thing, to the ring, and then you have your angle cosine indicator, so I can hang it off the rifle here, and I don't need to have a Picatinny rail in order to set up the cosine indicator. So if we stand back, you can see how that looks. It's a little bit crowded, but, you know, if you're serious about long-range shooting, you know, there's no way around it, unfortunately, especially for the way I have this set up here. Ideally, if I had a base here, you know, I could set the angle cosine indicator off of the base, but I don't have a base, you know, so I have to figure out a way. So this works great, guys. If you have a rifle like mine where you don't have a base on it, you know, this is what you want. One last thing I will say about this is that, you know, leveling the level was really easy, because what they have is they have these adjustment screws down in here. If you guys can see, there's a little screw in there actually. And what you do, rather than having to, you know, if any of you guys have ever installed a scope, you know how much of a pain it is to level your scope, you know, because when you tighten the rings down, the scope shifts a little bit, and then it's off level. Then you have to loosen the rings, twist it again. It's a pain, you know. And what they did here is that they have these little adjustment screws here. So what you do is you get it as level as you can, you tighten the ring down, and then all you do is you turn the screw here until it's to get the final adjustment. So you don't have to keep, you know, checking your level and twisting the ring back and forth until you get it perfect. And then, you know, it's just a nightmare. You know, you can spend 5 hours just trying to level. I've spent hours trying to level rings. It's a real pain, and just adding that little adjustment screw makes life so much easier. And they also have an adjustment screw when it's in the unfolded position too. So you have to set it up for the folded position, and then you have to set it up for the unfolded, the open position. All right, so it's definitely a great investment. And another cool tool from Flatline Ops is their true bore setup tool. All right, so what you do here is, if you want to set up your cosine, your angle cosine indicator, you see this red line here. All right, the red line tells you what the angle is on the rifle, how much angle is on the rifle. You know, you have to have some kind of way of zeroing this cosine indicator, so you know that it's accurate. You know, you have to in a sense level the cosine indicator before you use it. All right, you have to calibrate it, because if it's not calibrated properly, you're going to get a wrong reading. So in order to calibrate it, you got to make sure that your rifle is level and it's not on any kind of an angle. All right, so this little tool here, which is from Flatline Ops, all right, it's just a little level it's a magnet. All right, it has a little magnet here, and you stick it onto the rifle. All right, this is the true bore. It's only like 30 bucks. And what you do is you lift the rifle until it's level. All right, until the bubble is in the middle. All right, and then you know that the rifle is not angled up or down. Then you know that it's perfectly at 0 degrees. Okay, and then you can go over to your angle cosine indicator here, and you can adjust it. On this particular one, there's an adjustment screw here, and you just loosen the screw, and then, you know, tighten it down once you get it in the proper position. All right, so that's a nice little tool to get yourself when you buy your Flatline Ops level here and the Strong Arm. You know, just spend another $30 and get the true bore. It'll save you a lot of hassle, and it'll make sure that your cosine indicator is reading accurately. So, all right, guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more long-range shooting videos, let me know in the comments. I got a lot more long-range videos coming, and I'm going to show you guys how I shoot at long ranges. I'm going to go out to the 1,000-yard range soon and get you guys some footage of that. All right, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.